Hey everyone, welcome to Quilt-Cam in the basement at Quiltville on Wednesday, May 3rd. Can you believe it's May already? I can't. And we have a new format. I noticed this just this last week after the last few months of struggling with the live feed only being for mobile devices. Lo and behold, over the weekend I saw this little button on my laptop for going live on our Quiltville page. So hi, people who are writing in. I can actually see the discussion right now, so that's really good, because usually I couldn't when it was by tablet. And you might notice we have a slightly different view, and that's because I wanted to show you something tonight. So I've actually got my external camera screwed onto the top of a tripod, and here comes all the thumb up and all of the bubbles and all of the hearts. How fun. Count them! Count them! 184. Blue indigos in the corners, neutral in the center, 9 patches. And I have no clue what these are for. I have tried and tried and tried to figure out what I was making these for. What was I planning? What other colors was I going to put these with? What was my layout going to be? And it's just hopeless, because I swear I must have made these 9 years ago, maybe? I think this was something that was actually going to go in the first Scraps and Shirttails book, or maybe the second one. And I uncovered them while going through some bags and boxes and tubs and stuff, trying to let stuff go. So all of these 9 patches are a scrappy blues in the corner, neutrals in the middles or on the sides and in the middles, and it was just a clean out of the strip bin, and they're all different. So I played with some fabric, and I've come up with an idea. First of all, you know my love of strings, so I was first thinking that, okay, this is going to be a string quilt. String quilts have to be completed for the next book manuscript. What can we do to turn these leftovers into something that's really cool, that we wish was never waylaid? So what do you think? String snowballs, y'all. String snowballs with cheddar. Look how cute. Look how cute. Cheddar corners on these, and you could put them on point, you could put them straight, whatever you want to do. String snowballs, which brings to mind a couple of things. I have some amazing, awesome friends. And I have 2 friends who have sent me goodies that I have fallen deeply in love with. For instance, how many of you know Doug Leko? Fellow Minnesotan. In fact, both of the people I'm talking about tonight are fellow Minnesotans. This is Doug's new ruler. It's called the Simple Folded Corners ruler. And what I love about this is it's all purpose. If you want to sew big, so that you can trim and have things perfect, you can do it. If you want to cut things specifically so that things turn out the right size with no sliver trimming, you can do it. And that's exactly what I did for these corners. Now, there's lots of ways to do stitch and flip corners. You guys know that when I do bigger ones, if the square is at least 2.5 inches that I'm putting on the snowball, or for flying geese or pickets or whatever, I will save the bonus unit. Now, off of a string block and these corners, this is all I'm getting. Do I really want to save this? Remember, I've already made Pineapple Crazy. I've already done Wild and Goosey. So I've got, see, it's a string piece. Look at all the selvage up here at the top. This is something that I don't mind being pitched into the dog beds, into whatever. My allergy eyes are weeping, sorry. So what I did was played with Doug's ruler today. Now you'll also notice on here, I was going to bring a white piece of paper. I will hold my rotary mat up and put it backwards. Okay. Can you see those stickers on there? The stickers come from my friend Gudrun, who's also a Minnesota resident. I was going to say native. She's been there long enough, she should be, but actually she's from Iceland. She's come up with these wonderful ruler stickers. There's 192 in the package. They're repositionable. You can use them again and again and again until they finally give up and stop sticking. They're in 3 colors. So I've marked my ruler in a few places. The pink ones, and I know there's reflection from my light, so pardon that. The pink ones, here, here, and here. What? Nope, here. I'm doing this in mirror image and trying to watch it on screen. Okay, so the pink ones are the ones for the size that I'm trimming my blocks up to be. And then these little green ones right here, these are to mark the lines of where to place the ruler on the snowball unit, trim off that extra corner before sewing it so that I can just sew my regular 1/4 inch seam and be done. No drawing of lines, no having to sew a second seam because these are so small. So would you like to see how this is done? It's going to require a bit of moving the camera, so a little bit of adjustment here, but I'll show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to bring this over here. Just close your eyes a minute or you'll get dizzy. And then I need to tip the camera down just a second so that you can see. And hopefully, if we get this in the right spot here. Okay. And I'll try not to talk too loud because now the microphone's really close to me. So I've made these string blocks, just a few of them. Yes, and you can have orange pumpkins if you're going to be putting on cheddar corners. And I need to trim these to size. So, Bonnie, where is your rotary cutter? Bonnie, what did you do with your rotary cutter? Okay, 3 seconds. Cue the crazy music. Okay, I'm back. What I love about this ruler is it's multi-purpose. So I can do this whole trim up, position the corners, trim the corners with just one ruler. Otherwise, I would be using an E-square for one part and the essential triangle tool for the other part. And I like that I can just travel with one ruler. So I'm going to trim this block. You can see on here that I've overshot my paper a little bit in all directions so that if I need to slide the ruler a little bit, if I miss something or want to feature something, I can. I'm going to put this on here and avoid the hinge on the table. Okay. Nope, hinge, you are not in a good spot. Okay, to go this way. All right, so the first thing I need to do is get a good square corner on my block. So I am going to just use the edge of the ruler for a nice corner. Okay, and then what I'm going to do is I like to flip this over to this side so that I have my good corner to my lower left here. And I'm going to place the lines that I have marked on the edge of the block, just like this. And this is going to give me the size of block that I need. And there goes my excess. So now I've got a good square block. And what I've done from here is to switch gears just a little bit. You place a corner square, make sure that it's square. And the nice thing is that all of these lines on the ruler will help make sure that your corner square is square with the block you're putting it onto. And that's one of the things I found most helpful. At this point, I'm going to turn the ruler around. And you see that diagonal line? The diagonal line is your sewing line. So I'm going to line this up. And remember, whenever you're measuring anything, whether you're measuring to cut, whether you're measuring to draw, this line right here is the line that's going to go on the edge of my square. And I want that on the fabric, not next to it. So don't slide your line this way and leave the line on your base block because this will be too small. Your seam won't happen in the right spot. So get that line up on the outside corner. This is what's going to be the stitch and flip part here. And you're going to do this just like this. Okay? Just like this. Now I've got, we can do that to another corner too. And what I've been doing is working on 2 blocks at a time. I don't want to have too many orange triangles cut and have them flying all over the place. You know what I didn't do though? You guys, I can't believe it. You got to take your paper off first. This will just take a minute. So this is one of those crazy days where I had a massage in the afternoon and a car wash after that and grocery shopping after that, and it has been go, go, go. And then I realized as I'm setting up for Quilt-Cam, I have nothing to sew. I don't know what I'm going to sew. So this is where we are today. Okay, so I can place this guy back on here. And while we're doing this, if you have any photos that you want to share with me or anything for Quilt-Cam, you need to email those to me at quiltville@gmail.com because I can't read what's going on over there on my laptop. I will check those on my phone in just a minute. So you can go ahead and get all of these up here, and I'm watching that that line is on my base square, so I'm giving myself the benefit of the line, and I can tell by the line at the bottom of the block that I've got both things placed square. And that's important. If your stitch and flip corner is not placed directly square on your block, when you stitch it and fold it up, it's going to be wackadoodle. Did that go through? Alrighty, we'll do one more. I should be doing one on another block, but we'll just sew some strings in between. So actually, these little stitch and flip corners would make great leaders and enders, you guys. You could just trim up a bunch and be ready to sew them. Just stack them up and leave them by your machine. And these, there's just really nothing here that I want to save, not with that little string piece in the neutral. There's just nothing there. So, all right, one more, and then we're going to sew, I promise. I need a square on here. So all of these squares came from my bottomless bolt of cheddar fabric. And I know somebody's going to ask, what color is this color? And this is the one that I have found is the most, this is funny, trying to put this into the camera. Can you see it? It's actually called Tangerine Prairie Cloth, and I got it at Mary Jo's in Gastonia. So yeah, there's plenty of this. So there was no guessing on which color I was going to use for these corners. At first I thought red, but I've already got a couple of patriotic quilts going in process here. So okay, so here we go on this corner. And remember that the square that you're putting on top of your base unit has to be square with the base unit. They've got to be positioned just correctly, or you're going to be trimming off either more or less or at the wrong angle of where you want to be. Okay, so this is Doug Leko's Simple Folded Corners Ruler, and I will be carrying these in the Quiltville store. I've got an order in, and they should be in about the time I get back from this Manassas, Virginia up to Maryland trip that's coming up. Okay. What I like the most, can you see that? That there's no dog ears anywhere. The dog ears are already gone. So once I stitch these and press these, I'm done. Okay, so we're going to move over here. And I'm going to just adjust the camera just a little bit so that you can see what I'm sewing on. This is my Southern Pride. We got her in Alabama. I got her in Coleman, Alabama, and she is John Deere green, bright and shiny, and I just couldn't leave her behind. So this is really the first time I'm sewing on her, other than just a test run a couple weeks ago. Okay. So you'll see how this goes here. And I wish that I had my Leader Ender project out to work on while we're doing this, but the fact of the matter is these little corners are smaller than the Leader Ender triangles, and we'd spend more time doing that, so I didn't get that done. But I'm just going to sew this corner. I've measured my seam allowance. I did a test, so I know that my units will come out the right size. And what I will do here as my Leader Ender is add another piece onto the string block. Okay, I've got the which is the right side guesswork here. She sews really well. So here's one corner, and I'm just going to flip this out. And see how nice that is? There should be very little sliver trimming at all at this point if your seam is in the place that it should be. If you're having trouble, then try the other method. You cut your squares a little bit bigger, and then you'll flip them all out, and they will extend beyond your base unit, and then you trim that up. And that's a really nice way to go too. I didn't have an AccuQuilt die in that size, so I went with this instead. Okay. And one more string to add on here. Pull something up from the depths of the bucket. And then I'm going to move the camera back so that we can talk and I can sew at the same time, because I'd like to know what you're doing. I just thought this was a neat trick and that you'd like to see how this works. I'm excited about it. I'm excited to know what the heck I'm going to be doing with all of these scrappy 9 patches. Okay, so here's corner number 2, nothing to trim. Just press it on over. And how nice is that? It's really square across the top. It's nice. So I'm very excited. Let me move the camera back and we will continue on. And I'll be checking for emails coming in. So this will take just a second because I have to unscrew this guy. Sorry for the wiggles. Okay. And this takes just a minute to get adjusted correctly. We're now on the laptop. And there we are. Hi, everybody. Okay, so this is Doug Leko's Simple Folded Corners Ruler. Love it, love it, love it. And he's just a fun guy. So you got to follow him and find out what he's got going on. And remember, I'll have these in the Quiltville store within the next week or so. Okay? Alrighty, so on to the email. Let's see who's talking at me tonight. It's really been a nice break to be home. We spent most of it at the cabin, and we can't Quilt-Cam from there, so I'm glad we're able to do it tonight. Thanks for joining me. Sherry says, or Sharon Perry says, yay for Quilt-Cam. I'm working on surgical hats for my younger sister who is a nurse anesthetist. She loves to distract her patients with colorful and interesting hats while she's getting them ready for the OR. Read sticking them for the IV, especially the children she sees. I'll be sending her hats with cupcake fabric, cooking utensil fabric, and butterfly fabric when I finish the hats I currently have cut out. I'm also sending along a picture of the final product of my tumbler quilt. It's called Twinkle Twinkle Little Tumblers. She's got 3,328 tumblers in her quilt. So she says, think it twinkles in the middle. And then she's got, she says, thanks for Quilt-Cam and all you do. And this is Sharon in Vermont. Oh my goodness, Sharon, this is beautiful. It does twinkle in the middle. So here's Sharon's Tumblers quilt, all 3,000 tumblers in there for your viewing pleasure. And I love it. I love her border. I love that she put the black in there and then finished off the tumblers that way. It was just gorgeous, Sharon. It does. It almost has a circle of light around the center. If I can biggie. I don't know if you can tell. Can you see there's kind of a circle of light there? Wonderful, wonderful. So that brings me to questions have come in on the current Leader Ender project, which is not even here with me, so I don't have anything to demonstrate with. But which way to press the seams? And I've been asked that a couple of times. If you've ever spun the seams on the back of a 4-patch, it's exactly the same on an hourglass block. And if you can pinwheel those seams all the way around, be sure that you're sewing your hourglass blocks all in the same orientation so that all the seams on the back will spin the same direction. They will nest with each other no matter how you turn them in the quilt. That's the best way. Some people like pressing them open so that they can pin to match everything and there's less bulk. I like to nest things. If you press just the final seam open, there's less to pin and match, but you'll still have to pin and match something. Or if you press the last seam to one side, you may find yourself needing to press it back the other way, depending on which way that hourglass unit goes in the block. So, okay, so I'm going to sew this next to the last folded corner here, and chase my foot pedal. And then this string block is ready to go. I wanted to show you how many of you recognize this fabric right here, the one with the pinky red flowers. A 1987 or something like that. Yeah, you're in there. You're in there. It's gonna go. It's gonna go just fine because this little one was a 1980 something. I remember this one from one of the first quilts I made. So it shows up. It works in there. It's just fine. Let's see who else is tuning in tonight. Rebecca says, I'm working on putting this binding on the Scrappy Baby quilt for my cousin's twins that were born just this week. One boy, one girl. The boy one was already done. Maybe the girl one was a surprise. But she sent along a photo that's taking its sweet time to open. Oh, cute. Oh, cute. Love, love, love. 4 patches and sashings in purples. How cute is that? That is absolutely wonderful. Babies are the best excuse for quilt making that there is. You just can't get by with that. And of course, 4 patches, well, and 9 patches are my absolute favorites. Karen says she is working on a UFO tonight. She says, happy Wednesday, fellow quilters. Tonight I'm working on Oopsie Daisy. I started this quite a while ago. I'm determined to get it done this month. And this is Karen Kinsey from Fort Wayne, Indiana. So she's doing, oh, that's really cute. So it looks like her applique blocks are done. And she's just setting them with the little postage stamp blocks there. That's perfect for spring. Absolutely gorgeous. Wonderful. Paula Dore, or Paula Dore, however you pronounce it, D-O-R-E, says, not a lot, but she sent pictures. Is there text? Is there text in your email? She sent, we can guess what she's going to say. I am working on my Blue Ridge Beauty in red and neutral. I love it. More 4 patches, half square triangles, basic building blocks, and oh so happy Scrappy. That's wonderful. The other thing she's working on, oh, she's showing how she's working on it. She's got her featherweight, and I spy an IKEA light, and I like that she has broken her pattern down into, if I show it over here, she's broken her quilt design down into blocks so that she can arrange the blocks however she wants to for her final layout. And then this is her featherweight with her little IKEA light, which we love. How great is that? You can see I've got mine over here because the light bar thing is upstairs where I was doing some other work. What do we got going on here? Cassie Stagg says, love your Southern Pride find. She sounds smooth as silk. The ruler is amazing. With all the rulers on the market, here is another must-have. And she's from Humble, Texas. Well, you guys know me and know that I'm as frugal as I can be with my rulers. And different rulers do different jobs. I like a ruler that can do more than one job, and this one can. I can use it to cut squares. I can use it to cut rectangles. I can use it to trim corners. It's just going to be a really good tool, and I like that I can do it all with one here. You pair that with the Essential Triangle tool, and you've got every kind of triangle that you want to do, you know, as long as it's a right triangle handled. So I'm happy about that. And don't forget the stickers. The stickers really helped me find where I needed to, which line I was going for. Janie Epps says, Janie's project. Fabric is Hoffman Silver, Jingle Pops, and pattern is There's No Point by Stephanie Prescott of A Quilter's Dream. Found in a quilt shop in the middle of Montana. She must have fallen in love with it and brought the kit home. Just got to get the picture to download here. This always makes me wonder if my Wi-Fi's on or not, because I live in the land of 1X down here. Oh, cute. Cute, cute, cute. So she's got her blocks going steady there. She'll be working on those from strips from fabric that she loves. That's just wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. I really like that one that looks kind of like birch bark. Okay. So Wendy Bain says, hi Wendy. She says, enjoying Quilt-Cam live. I'm trimming a layer of fusible fleece out of these bullseyes this evening. So she's this looks like perfect for Cinco de Mayo there, because it looks like a Mexican hat dance that you've got going on right in front of you with all of that trimming. But all of those colors are so happy. That's wonderful. So while I am sitting here, I can got a couple more papers I didn't know how long our little demo was going to take us. Remember, this is an impromptu. What am I going to sew for Quilt-Cam? I think I'll show folded corners because I need something to do. Okay, so I've got my string foundations, and I could leave the foundation in place when I sew the corners on, but I think it would add an extra layer of bulk, and then I'm left peeling the paper out of seam allowance. So I'm not going to bother. Now this time, the blocks I usually do, the strips go corner to corner, but this time I'm going across the straight. So I'm starting in the center, 2 strips right sides together. And put your stitch length down, and I still like to sew about a 1/4 inch all the way around, leave a margin of a 1/4 inch all the way around the paper, just in case you need to avoid a seam, slide the ruler this way or that way, or you find yourself falling short on one edge. You can slide the ruler the other direction. There's a pin right there. And I can sew this last folded corner. I'm going to press this one over. The thing I am amazed with is how nice and square these blocks are staying. Usually with stitch and flip, you know, you have to sew not quite on the diagonal, because if you sew on the diagonal, your folded up corner turns out too small. But because I'm able to sew with my already set scant, just a hair seam allowance, this is easy. This is easy. Makes me wish I had another one trimmed up so that I could keep going on those folded corners. But I'm just going to do some stringing here. Some of these fabrics, you know, it's like, how long has this been in here? So my plan for this week, I am driving up to Manassas on Friday. I will be in Manassas for just a few days, and then I drive up to Maryland, and I'll be in Maryland for the next 3 guilds. There's Hagerstown and Linthicum. They're doing a combined thing between 2 other guilds. So technically it's a 4 guild trip, but I'm doing it in 3 stops. And if you are coming along, I look forward to meeting you and seeing you and spending the time with you. And there we have one. I'm going to give it a little iron press, but it's square. It's nice and square and ready to place with the other one. So that's 3 down, only about 197 to go. But at least we have a project now for these blocks that have been sitting around here. Here's the other one I did. They're just fun little string snowballs. So we're going to start a second block here. One of the questions I get often is, how do you have so much variety in your strings? I've been saving them a long time. They're kind of my mulch buckets, and I usually have plenty to play with. But if I'm feeling short, nothing says that I can't just go to the scrap user system and pull some 1.5 inch and some 2-inch strips to mix in with the strings and make them go further. Or I can go to my fat quarters, find the ones that have been sitting around too long, and either take half of that fat quarter and strip it down into various widths, or if I'm feeling very lazy, I just run it through the AccuQuilt. It doesn't matter whether it's a straight strip or not. I'm going to blend it in with those that are more stringy. And I would cut strips 1.5 inch, and 2 inch, because I do have those dies, and I'll mix them in. Of course, my favorite thing to do is just take the leftover ends of fabrics that aren't really straight at all, and I try to save enough from the edge of the fabric to go in the string bucket. Instead of just sliver trimming off a tiny bit and throwing that away, allow yourself to cut an extra inch when you're trimming fabric, whether you're just getting a piece of fabric out cut border widths. You do that true cut on the end to get the nice straight edge on the fabric. Move over an inch. Save the whole thing. That way you are building your variety while you're trimming up your yardage for your borders. This machine really is a sweetie. When I got it, I fell in love. I was mesmerized. Huge antique mall out of Coleman, Alabama. And I was so in love with the color, with how shiny it was, with how nice it looked, the fact that it said Southern Pride on it, that I didn't notice that it had a broken check spring and was missing a presser foot and some other stuff. So when I got home to get it going, it was, oh. And I had to lubricate the motor because it was really slow. It took me longer. I thought I could just plug it in and oil it and go for it, but it's been worth it. She's doing a good job. We had a great time in Alabama, so it's a good commemorative thing here. Alrighty, let's go back to the email. So 2 strips down the center. When I start down the center, I'm free to add strips to whichever side I want. So I'm not forced to work from one side to the other. It gives me options. I like that. So here we are. Irene says, yay, how great. She says, I'm watching Quilt-Cam while working on taming the stash so that the quilt area is all set for my visit. I'm going to visit Irene in Kentucky in June, so I'm really excited. Irene, I've already decided that I will be driving so that I can return your crock pot. Crock pot. It'll just go back and forth between us. She says, I've got a little neutral crazy, but I love them. By the way, one of my favorite things about you is your ability to get a giggle out of Quilty Life's little, I have to click this to, little mishaps. Can't wait to see you in June. Oh, you want to hear the latest mishap. So our Quiltville's Open Studio group is now over 71,000, and many of you are a member of our Quiltville's Open Studio, but you don't have an idea what it's like on the moderator side. So there were like 200 and some people waiting to be approved membership, and we go through them. We make sure that there's something quilty on their page. We check to see how many groups they're members of, because I'm sorry, you cannot be a member of 947 groups. It's just not possible. So this is to get rid of the spammer stuff. If you just joined Facebook yesterday and you're a member of 137 groups, chances are you're a spammer. Well, I went through and I checked by Facebook join date, deleted people that didn't have anything quilty or didn't have any friends or whatever, and then went by number of groups and deleted all of those that had an insane number of groups that were not quilters, because you can hover over their name and their profile picture and their header photo of their page shows up, and then I let the rest in. So when I go back to check to leave a message that Quilt-Cam was starting in 7 minutes, there's this warning that 267 posts had been marked as spam and had been flagged. And it's like, I can't, it takes 30 seconds to check each one. It's like somebody, like a spammer who was let in, just started flagging everybody's posts as spam to clog up the spam filter thing, so that we have got to get them all out there, because now there's too many to even to check if they are spam or not. So, and that was happening, 7 minutes before Quilt-Cam started. So yeah, so thank you to Irene and to Angela, who are my left and right hand at trying to keep things calm in Open Studio. And if posts are not removed in a timely manner, it's because we have to remove all 267 of those one at a time. There's no way to delete the whole batch. It's one at a time. Okay, so just bear with us. The next one, Jen Hinwood says, sewing capes overlapping squares. Oh my goodness, I finally get to see you live. Hi, Jen. She says, my whole year so far has been taking care of grandkids for my military daughter, and my schedule hasn't meshed with yours. I'm happy to have you in my sewing room tonight. Likewise. I'm working on a UFO that was started in a workshop with Kafe, Brandon, my sister, and my mom. I'm loving all the triangles. This is bringing back sweet memories of spending creative time with my two favorite women. We do enjoy sewing and learning new things together. We'll be in your midnight flight class in Utah in July. I can't wait. I can't wait. Thanks for your amazing patterns and everything you share. And she's got, I love her tagline. She says, scrap quilter at large. That's just awesome. Okay, these are great. I'm going to turn this sideways, see if I can, there it does turn, good. So it's a new trick on the old Card Tricks block. It's Card Tricks blocks with Kafe facet fabrics. Those look amazing on that purple. Beautiful job. Thank you for sharing that. And then we have Amelia says, glad I'm able to see you tonight. Almost makes up for not being able to meet you in person this weekend. I am putting my last fat quarter acquisition into individual color bins. And so she sends a photo. Boy, I wish my fat quarters looked that nice. Just makes me want to run my fingers right through them. So she's been doing a lot of fat quarter folding going on, and a whole lot of fondling and petting too in the process, and planning for new quilts. So I'm sorry that you won't be able to make it this weekend. We'll miss you. Okay, Donna Rose says, current project. This is Road to Appomattox that I am making as a request from a wonderful neighbor. A lot to ask of someone. And she's got, oh, B, you've got this all out on your dining room table. Look at that. That is a lot. So your neighbor asked you to make this for her? And what's she going to do? This would require a whole lot of brownie baking on any neighbor's part. Okay. And this is Ivy Sen, who says, hi, Bonnie, I'm Ivy. Thank heavens I can see you live today after 1 year, because after we moved from North Carolina to California time difference, I can't watch live. I'm off from work today and can see. Or maybe that is so. Is it see or so? If it's written from your phone, it could be either. I am attaching the Minnie Mouse quilt for my coworker's daughter, who is my student also for her birthday. And she's got, oh, how cute is this? So it's little Minnie Mouse silhouettes. Look at the bows. Aren't those just the cutest ever? Those are great, Ivy. Thank you for sending that. And then she's also got, it says, one new message. It came in twice. But those are adorable. Those are adorable, Ivy. I love the Minnie Mouse. Okay, one more, and then I am going to sew a little bit. We've only got about 20 minutes left of Quilt-Cam tonight. Instead of going an hour 15, an hour 20, I'm capping it at an hour tonight, just because I didn't have enough planned. But this one says, hi, Bonnie, I've missed Quilt-Cam. Glad to see you. I will order one of those rulers soon. Here's the fox quilt I just finished. Thanks for all of your wonderful ideas and projects. And this is, oh, Betsy, she's from near Manassas. Awesome. I love that area. One of my favorite things to do is to go walk the historic battlefields and things out there. I mean, it's been a couple of years since I've had a chance to do that, so I'm looking forward to it. Here's her Foxy, Foxy, Foxy. So super cute. Now, these foxes look like they could have some folded corner stuff going on there with all of those ears. Yeah, I'm looking here. So, yeah, there's a lot of stitch and flip corner stuff going on. You're going to want this ruler for doing the stitch and flip corners. For either you can go big and sliver trim down, you know, start with an oversized square, sliver trim it down so it's perfect. Or if you're fairly good and you have no problem with where your seam allowance is, just start with the size of square that you need and do the trimming first. All the dog ears are gone. No dog ears whatsoever. It's wonderful, wonderful. Okay, I'm going to add some more string here. And other trips coming up. Oh, look, Christmas fabric. I think it's going to go in too. Is it neutral to you? Yes. So can I confess something that that's driving me kind of absolutely, well, to giggles, I should say. I've been sewing too long, so I already know that I'm from a different generation. There is a generation gap in quilt world. There just is, because in all of my quilting life, we've called these kind of fabrics white, cream, beige, tan, sometimes light gray, sometimes very pale pink. They've always been neutral or just background. And then this whole low volume thing comes along as if they invented it. But it's now even been abbreviated. I saw the other day a post from somebody else's fabric pile that they brought home from the quilt shop. Oh, I love your LVs. Great LVs. LV. I'm going, LV. LV. What could LV be? Oh, yeah. Duh. Low volume. So I'm not speaking the lingo. I'm one of those old ladies who still calls them neutrals because it's less syllables. Another thing to bring up. To the gals who I was on retreat with in Texas, near Canton, when we were by Eustis for retreat, if any of you, were affected by that storm that went through Canton, I'm sure sorry. I'm awfully glad that I was there the week before. But for those who had damage in Canton, I'm sure sorry. And, you know, I lived in that area. I lived in Waxahachie for a little over a year. And that place is near and dear to my heart. So I'm so sorry for those folks in East Texas who were hammered. The First Monday weekend has been a big thing in Canton, Texas for years and years and years and years and years and years. It's like the world's biggest flea market you've ever seen. And it took a toll in that area. So hopefully people will be able to recover shortly or quickly. All right, find a new strip. I love just reaching into this bin and pulling something, and if I pull it, on it goes. If I get this machine going too fast, it hammers. I really need to put some little felt pads where the machine rests on the lip of the table, because that starts to bounce. She sews so fast. One more strip, and this one will be done. If you are going to be in my Manassas or Maryland workshops this coming weekend and week, I have tuned up and shined up and new needled and new bobbin tired and new belted and shined up some vintage sewing machines that need to go live in somebody else's house. So if you are in the market for a vintage machine, maybe you'll adopt one of mine. I need to do this so that if I find new ones to adopt, I have room to put them. So I just want to have the revolving door process going. I love to find them, fix them, sew on them for a while. I'm a fickle-hearted machine lover. When the new thing squirrel comes along, I need to rehome some to make room. So I'll have those set up, and you can feel free to play. I'll bring some scrap fabric, and you can sit there and sew on them and see how they feel. Okay, let's check back in. Cynthia Pugh has Quilt-Cam question. Have you done a selvage quilt or used selvages in your scrappy quilts? Here's a picture of mine. It's a spider web block. These are gorgeous. These are gorgeous. Absolutely wonderful. I have used selvages. I usually mix them in with my strings. Most of my fabrics don't have a lot of selvage to them, I sew with a lot of fat quarters, or I buy 1/3 of a yard cuts, depending on where I am. If I'm having them cut it off a bolt, it'll be 12 by 40. There's only 12 inches of selvage there, so that doesn't go very far. It's not like selvage from a 3-yard piece. And if you're buying a fat quarter, you may only have selvage on one side if you're lucky, because if you got the other part of the fabric, you're going to have the selvage that says nothing. So selvages are not anything that I save particularly, but when selvages happen, they go into the string bucket. I like to have my seam allowances turned under the quilt. I don't do a whole lot of top stitching of selvages, so I don't like a lot of raw edge stuff. It's just kind of a personal thing. But I love to see salvage things when people show them to me. And I'm looking for something kind of wider. Something fairly wide. Here's something almost too wide. So we'll take it in half. I'm so excited about this quilt, I could just let everything else go to the dogs and just work on this. So this is what I'm talking about here. Can you tell that on this edge that I've got like 1/8 of an inch of paper showing down here? I'm a little bit far from the camera, so, but there's 1/8 of an inch of paper. But if I overpiece this edge, I've still got enough room to slide the ruler up, miss where I'm short 1/8, and still fit the whole thing in. So that's why I like to oversize and go about 1/4 inch at least beyond my paper. If I can tell, oh yeah, I'm going to be way too short here, then I'll purposely do an even bigger piece on this end. And that's that one. One more question. Keep sharing those selvage things. I think that they're great. I just don't buy enough big yardage pieces to have much of a selvage collection. Okay, where were we? Louise says, watching Quilt-Cam. We are watching Quilt-Cam during our Wednesday open sew. Mary is putting on the last row of Talkin' Turkey, and Brenda is cutting her step 7 triangles for En Provence. I am sewing on a binding, and thanks for Quilt-Cam. She's in Rhode Island, and here's a picture of the ladies. Hi, ladies. Let's see if I can turn this. We've still got heads cut off here, no matter which way I do this. So there's a couple of the gals there. Talkin' Turkey En Provence, putting on a binding. Awesome. How wonderful to have you join us tonight from Rhode Island. I like what I see there. And this one is a question on hexies, or simple stitches. This says, all quilted and bound now. It was my travel handwork on our anniversary trip to Brazil. Thanks for all you do. And I believe this is an Edita Sitar pattern. Look at that, beautiful hexies with the leaves applique border. Absolutely beautiful. Those are some tiny, tiny hexies, girl. I need them bigger than that. Louise, let's see, Cynthia Fox says, I'm working on a quilt for my niece's baby. I didn't have a clear plan when I began this quilt, so I keep making changes. That sounds like my life. Adding the strips because I wasn't happy with the way it looked. I'm looking forward to seeing you in Utah as I've signed up for Moth in the Window and Tumalo Trail. So this is Cindy Fox. And she's, oh, cute. It is, of course, it's foxes. It's Cindy Fox. There you go. I'm trying to figure out which way do I put my head so I'm not hiding behind the phone. But look at that with the initials. What a great thing to do. You don't have to do the whole quilt all foxes, just one row of foxes, and the rest of it's Trippy and some initials down at the bottom. That is really great. I'll see you in July, Cindy. Looking forward to it. I'm going to go way down to the bottom. You guys keep coming in. Oh my goodness. Diane Oak says, yippee for Quilt-Cam. It says inline image. Oh, look at you. Finishes. How wonderful. Wondered if you got your haunted ceiling fans fixed. Okay. So earlier this week, I wrote a blog post about a trip we made to Lowe's, because when we bought the cabin in Virginia, The very first night, I freaked out in the middle of the night. I came out at 4 a.m. and the lights were on, and we knew we had turned the lights off. And then several times since then, like when Jason was over, we were just sitting there in the living room, and all of a sudden the beep, 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 and the fan just starts to whir. And it only whirs on turbo speed. There is no low, medium, or high. It's just Gale-Force. So I wrote this post about how we were getting rid of these haunted ceiling fans and getting new ones. And the new ones will be operable via pull chain, so we can have definite speed, because, you know, turbo from the ceiling is just a little bit overpowering. I arrived at the cabin last, what day did I go up? Tuesday? A week ago, Tuesday. And I go in the garage, up the garage door, into the cabin, up the stairs to the kitchen, and the light is on. The fan is off, but the light is on, and all of the paper napkins from the dining room table are all over the floor. They had just, somebody had a heyday. Whatever the ghost was, we know it's a short in the wall, but we just don't want to deal with these fans. They're 18 years old. They need to go. But it's kind of funny thinking that I'm imagining this, wishing that there was a camera on the wall to see the fan go beep, 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 and start to spin, and all of the napkins from the basket on the table just all around the room. It was too funny. So ceiling fans are purchased, but the hubby was working on his shed, and then we had to deal with a tree that fell across the driveway, and we couldn't get out. So the ceiling fans will hopefully get installed next time. But thank you for asking. So she's got, oh, Diane, this is gorgeous. So this is her chunky churn dash from my March visit to Michigan. And I love that orange setting fabric. That looks really, really great. And then she's got, oh, I like the offset that you did. And I know these are sideways. If I turn it this way, will it go? Nope, it's still going to be sideways no matter what I do. But she did her, see what I mean? Have to keep it this way. This is her Smoky Mountain Majesties. Absolutely fabulous. And both of these patterns are from the free patterns tab at the top of the blog. So go check that out. It'll help you use a whole lot of stash in a hurry. Those are great, Diane. Good to hear from you. And Mackenzie says, so glad to be watching Quilt-Cam live tonight. My machine and all my quilting supplies are in storage currently. So sewing vicariously with you, moving into fifth wheel next week, having withdrawal. Not sure where everything is currently, and she loves my t-shirt. Well, we're feeling your withdrawal. In fact, tomorrow morning, I have a very special date with a friend. We are meeting up at Cracker Barrel in Greensboro for breakfast. How many of you know Nicole Wild? She lives in a coach-sized motorhome, a diesel pusher, and she has her long arm inside this motorhome. And when she's ready to quilt, the tip out comes out, and she's got her long arm right there. When she's ready to go back on the road, the tip out comes back in, and it's all packed in there. Her whole stash, her everything. She's living in this motorhome. And so we chose Cracker Barrel for breakfast tomorrow because they have RV parking, so she can get in there. And I can't wait. I get to see the inside of the art bus for reals, for reals. So I'll be sure to get pictures and stuff of Nicole and I together. And she'll be lecturing in Greensboro tomorrow night. Then she's got some workshops up and down Virginia and all around. Of course, I'm heading out on Friday for Manassas and then up to Maryland, so I'm going to miss her. But I'm glad that she can take some time to have breakfast with me. So if you're moving into an RV, you're just going to want to keep a small machine like a featherweight. You're going to want to keep a variety of stash and the tools that you need, and you're going to want to make quilts with much smaller pieces so it takes you longer to sew them so that you don't need as much stuff because you can keep piecing on the same thing for years and years and years if the pieces are really small, right? You don't need as much stash. So looking forward to your stories. Anybody else who sews on the road, that would be a wonderful thing to post about. So if you wanted to send me photos of your space and how you travel with your quilting supplies and how you sew when you're on the road, that would be a really, really great thing to write a blog post about. So you can email me at quiltville @gmail.com and send whatever pictures, whatever story you want. I'm thinking that's a winner. That's a great topic. Thank you so much for that. And then Claudia says, Quilt-Cam, just finished making the back for Scrappy Mountain Majesties. Plan to baste it tomorrow so I can begin hand quilting it for number 3 grandson. Love Quilt-Cam and glad I can join you tonight from the North Georgia mountains. And she's chosen a different layout for her Scrappy Mountain Majesty. She's chosen the Zigzag Mountain layout. If you check out the free patterns tab at the top of my blog for Scrappy Mountain Majesties, you'll find several different ways you can turn and set these blocks. Wonderful. Love it, love it, love it. Okay. All the way back to the top. You guys are just coming in hard and heavy. If I missed anybody's emails, there's no way to get to them all during a 1-hour Quilt-Cam session and get some sewing time and some demo time in. So hang with me, and I'm just doing the best that I can. Also, for those who sent requests before Quilt-Cam, they started coming in yesterday. Please talk about this during Quilt-Cam or this during Quilt-Cam, or can you show us this during Quilt-Cam, or can you do this? When there's 29 people in your email inbox during one day telling you what they want you to do for Quilt-Cam, you want to just throw up your hands and say, I don't think so. There's not enough of Quilt-Cam to go around for that, but we'll do the best that we can. Maybe some of those things would make a better blog post than a Quilt-Cam demo, and I'm always on the lookout for things that I can write about and keep the blog interesting for you. So if I don't get to you right away, it's a time constraint thing. So Joanne says, swing your partner, working on my first recycled shirt project. So much fun. See you in Linthicum next week. Linthicum, Maryland. My spell checker on my phone does not like the word Linthicum. It keeps trying to call it lithium or what was the Lyceum or whatever. So Google, you need to know where Linthicum is. But she sent her picture here of her swing your partner, which I absolutely love this quilt. Come on, baby. In the basement. I think I have more signal up on the mountain in Virginia. Come on. And for my next trick, we have a polar bear in a snowstorm. Oh, there it is. Oh, those look great. Those look great. So here's her swing your partner blocks. This is a quilt that I did in the very first Scraps and Shirt Tales book. In fact, the Scraps and Shirt Tales 1 and 2 are on sale in the Quiltville store. You'll find them in the book sale section for $19.99 a copy, as long as supplies last. So those are wonderful fun. I love those. Again, half square triangles, 4 patches. You can't go wrong with that one. Beautiful. Thank you. Okay, so we are going to do one more. Nancy Deely, who's working on her hourglass quilt. That is just beautiful. She's doing hers rainbow. Come on, Nancy. Small picture. It's going to open up here in just a second. But the hourglass challenge will continue until, right after the 4th of July. It'll probably be after the 4th of July weekend when we put out our new one. Come on already. No matter what you're making with your hourglass units, it qualifies. Whether you are doing My Blue Heaven from the free patterns tab, which uses a lot of hourglass units, to doing a small, tiny little hourglass unit wall hanging, to, I don't care if you're making hot pads. Use those pieces, just cut pairs of triangles, and use them as your leader and ender while you are sewing on whatever you're chaining on your machine. Those units will build into something while you're working. In fact, I got over 50 of them sewn together, 50 hourglass units, just while working on blocks at the cabin over the past week. Come on. My connection says, see, the laptop is hardwired into the internet. My phone is not, and that's the difference here. And it's an iffy signal. So come on. Maybe you sent a really, really, really big photo. I'm sorry, it's not allowing me to open it up. Anyway, here's a good question. I love interesting subject lines. This one says wide feed ducts. Well, how wide are your feed dogs? She says, I have a 2014 Viking Husqvarna 875 quilting machines. Why are the feed dogs so wide that I can't use any piecing foot? What is the reason for the wide feed dogs? Your machine likely has embroidery capabilities, which means that some of those embroidery designs will zigzag this way and zigzag back this way, and they may loop-de-loo, and they may do leaves, and they may do whatever, and the feed dogs are set this wide so that your machine can handle all of those beautiful decorative stitches that you never purchased that machine for in the first place, that you will likely never use. Now, what I would do were that my machine, because if you have really wide feed dogs and you're trying to sew from center needle position, is you're running your fabric on one feed dog only while this feed dog over here is doing absolutely nothing. Needle over all the way to the right and measure your 1/4 inch from there. Likely you won't be able to use a 1/4 inch foot, but put some tape down on your machine bed to mark where that 1/4 inch is. I like 3 or 4 layers of tape, or a piece of a hotel room key, or in this case, this was a Target gift card that was pretty, so I cut it all up. You don't need a 1/4 inch foot to do a 1/4 inch seam. I prefer to have my 1/4 inch marked on my machine bed so it's not going up and down and moving side by side, or if I happen to change position slightly, then sitting off one side a little bit or the other, it's not going to change my perspective. But on a wide zigzag machine, you cannot sew a 1/4 inch in center needle position without a specialty foot that sometimes will work with both feed dogs, or needle over all the way and then measure from there. This is why I sew on vintage machines. Narrow feed dogs, straight stitch only. I don't have to worry about the black hole of Calcutta and having triangles sucked down the needle hole. Does that answer your question? I hope so, because 2014 you probably have gorgeous embroidery stitches that are, and that's why. Betsy Kessler, this is the last one. Hi, Betsy. She says, Mary's in Pennsylvania. I'm wondering if you'll be driving to Mary's in Bedford. If yes, I'm hoping you can bring some machines to sell. Well, we'll see what's available and see what I find in between now and then. I will be up to Bedford, Pennsylvania in July. She says, can't wait to see you there. I'm in the first 3 days, so that'll be fun. There's some machines I'm waiting for parts for. I ordered some foot pedals and cords and some bobbin cases and stuff like that. A lot of times when you buy a machine, it's missing this, that, or the other, and then you have to order in the thing, and then the price of the thing gets added to the price that you paid for the machine, and we just do the best we can. So I'll see what I can find for you, Betsy. I guess we're about ready to call this. Our hour is up, and you know the reason why it's an hour? I haven't had dinner yet. There's a Costco chicken still sitting in the fridge from this afternoon's Costco run. It's about to be minus 2 legs and 1 wing. So if it's still early where you are and you still feel like sewing, or you're inspired to get something out, or you just want to organize something, or whatever it is, don't stop now just because I'm turning off the Quilt-Cam. I will grab a bite to eat, and I'm going to come back and sew some more, and maybe you can too. Our next Quilt-Cam probably won't happen until I'm back from Washington State at the end of May. We'll look forward to seeing you then. I will give you updates as often as possible. And no matter where you are or what you're doing, keep it scrappy. I'll see you later, everybody. Bye-bye.